Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity. Today, as you guys saw from the title, I'm going to be sharing my review and thoughts along with live eye swatches of the new Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, just keep watching and we'll get into this baby. So first off, I have a bit of a confession. When I first saw this palette teased and first saw the inside of it, I was like, pass. Nothing about it interested me. I don't know, I don't know what it was about it, but I was just like, oh no, that just doesn't look like something I'll like. And then the day it was released, I saw that it was released, I was looking into it and someone had shared swatches, and I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention before, but it got my attention then, and I was just like, ooh, let me think about this. And so I waited, I didn't get it from Too Faced, I actually purchased it from Sephora once it came to Sephora, and I was able to use my end of the year coupon that Sephora gives for VIP members, and so I was able to get some money off, and I purchased this baby, and I have been having so much fun with it ever since. I have worn this for almost 3 weeks straight. I've worn every single shade of this palette on my eyes in different combinations and different type of eye looks. I've even done an all matte look with this palette just using the mattes in here. So I've really gotten to know this palette, and overall I am happy with this palette. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This palette retails for $49, and as you guys can see, I feel like everyone's kind of shared the packaging. It looks exactly like their original chocolate bar palette, except that it has this melted gold dripping down from it, which is really nice. It also gets really dirty all the time, no matter how hard you try to keep it clean. It always just looks fingerprinty, dusty, dirty, that kind of thing. Doesn't really bother me, but something definitely to be aware of. This does have a snap closure instead of a magnetic closure like all their other palettes do. I don't mind it. It's a really nice snap closure. It's really easy to just snap it open, no problems there. And then inside they did include a very large mirror, which I actually really do like. I am someone who typically always does my makeup sitting at my makeup vanity with my own mirror that's like a 5x magnification mirror. So I don't typically use palette mirrors or even handheld mirrors to do my makeup, but when I got this palette, I had just had a baby, and so I wasn't able to be sitting at my vanity most times. I was either on the couch feeding, whatever the case may be, or at my kitchen table, you know, just trying to put my makeup on and whatever free time I had. So I was actually using this mirror. And I had to get used to the fact that it wasn't 5x the magnification, but it is a really nice mirror. And then getting into the shadows, as you guys can see, there are 4 matte, and then the rest of them are a kind of shimmer metallic finish shadow. I think this is the best all metallic palette that came out this past year. I was seeing a lot of them, you know, Fenty Beauty came out with one, Urban Decay came out with one, a lot of brands I felt like came out with all metallic palettes, but I didn't bite the bullet on any of them because for me it's like, I always have to have some kind of matte in it, and I don't know, if I have to reach for 2 palettes to do an eye look, I tend to just not use that palette that I need to grab for other mattes. So the fact that this has at least 4 mattes really bumped it up in my eyes, and I was like, okay, that's an all metallic palette that I would actually get some use out of. So let's talk about the mattes real quick in the palette. I love the mattes that Too Faced chose to stick in this palette. You have a brow bone color. Now, honestly, I wouldn't have minded having a different shade instead of a brow bone, because if we think about it, you can always use either a translucent setting powder or your foundation powder to set your eye makeup or to put as a brow bone highlight. So that's something that I feel like it's more easily for you to have. That's just a little something I thought of as I was using this. But overall, you got a nice brow bone highlight. I do appreciate that they put it in the largest pan because I feel like you're going to go through that relatively quickly. Then you have 2 different shades for deepening up the crease or just warming up the crease depending on your skin tone. And I do appreciate and like that they put 2 different shades, one a little light, one a little deep, and then a black. Now the black isn't the best black I've ever seen, not gonna lie to you. It's a little, not patchy, but it's a little sheer is one thing I'd say, and it's not the easiest to blend. These 2 I noticed were a little difficult to blend, and not impossible. I just had to spend a little extra time than say, you know, with one of my Lorac Pro palette mattes or, you know, the Dose of Colors mattes. You know, those types are really creamy, easy to blend. I don't know what it was about these 2 shades, but I just found them a little tricky to blend. So that was just something to note. Overall though, I do like the mattes, and I do like that they included them in this palette so that I can have just this and get a complete look, and I don't have to dip into any other palettes. Moving on to the metallics, they are just outstanding, gorgeous, beautiful. When I first saw this palette and purchased it and, you know, was looking at it online, I did kind of worry that there were just so many of those kind of neutral shimmers in here, like this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade. Even that shade, they just looked very, you know, neutral gold ish shade. So I was like, man, you know, I wish there was more pops of colors. Those are all going to pretty much look the same on your eyes. But actually, now that I have it in my hand and I've used them all on my eyes, as I said, they are very different. I do have to use a glitter glue when I use this palette, or I will tend to see fallout, like glitter fallout on my eyes throughout the day. But keep in mind, I do have oily eyelids, so maybe if you have dry eyelids, you might not find this problem. Now you guys are going to see this when it comes to the live swatches, but for the most part, all these shades are extremely metallic and almost foiled looking, even without using any kind of setting spray, any kind of primer underneath, anything like that. If anything, these two shades show up a lot more shimmery if you don't like foil them with, you know, Fix Plus or put down a base or something like that, or really pack it on with your finger. These two, if you just use a brush and just go in with these two onto your lid, they'll look more shimmery with some gold specks on them, or you know, showing in them, but you can get them to show up more foiled, which I feel like Too Faced always has trouble with pinks and purples, but they always put them in palettes. I just find that kind of funny. For my eyes today, I actually used both of these shades just to show you that you can create a really nice intense look with these shades. I tried a halo eye. Not sure how that turned out, but yeah, I used this shade on the center of the lid, this shade on either side. I used this shade as a little bit of highlight, and then I used all three of these as the matte shades in my crease, just warming things up and blending things out. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. So at this time, we're going to pause and go ahead and go to the live eye swatches, because I feel like that is going to tell the story and help you decide for yourself if this palette is something that is worth your purchase or not. As always, I am using two different types of eye brushes. One will be the e.l.f. $1 little eyeshadow brush, and then the other one's going to be the Sonia Kashuk number 23. So the e.l.f. I use for the shimmers, the Sonia Kashuk I use for the mattes, and then in between that I will be cleaning off each of the brushes on my it's color switch basically, but it's the Ulta version of the color switch. This is what it looks like. Also, after I do the brush swatch, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my finger and just pat it on top, just so you guys can see that yes, you can get a really intense look with a brush, but you can amp it up even more just by using your finger to pack on a bit more color. So I did want to include that just so you guys can see the ultimate potential. And do keep in mind, as I said before, I do not use any kind of primer under this. I just set my eyes with a little bit of translucent setting powder after I clean them, just so there's no like dampness left on my eyes, but I don't use any primer. Let me know if that's helpful, or if you think that's a little hindering, if you think I should use a primer underneath or some kind of base. But at this time, for this video, I use no primer underneath, and everything you see is just using these shadows. So yeah, with all that said, let's get right into the live eye swatches. as you can see, those live swatches, at least in my book, were pretty impressive. I was very impressed with how well they showed up without any help with a primer or any kind of concealer or Fix Plus, nothing like that. I was impressed. And then just using them, I was also just forever impressed. Now, I will try to link down below some videos where I was wearing this palette on my eyes because, as I said, I was trying this palette out around when I had my second son. I forgot to actually take pictures and you know, of the eye looks I was creating. I usually like to insert them here so you guys can see. So I'm so sorry, but if you look down below, I will link to the videos where I was wearing this palette on my eyes so you guys can see, you know, what it looked like in action. So I hope that helps you guys kind of see how the palettes, the shadows in the palettes perform. Overall, I am in love with this palette, honestly. I have just been so impressed with every eye look that I create. I love it. I find the metallics extremely easy to work with. They're all very creamy, very soft, with the exception of these two shades. If any are a little dry and not chalky, but if any are a little dry, it's these two. Everything else almost feels wet. It's so creamy and pigmented and soft. So I was very impressed with the quality of these shadows in here. And as I said, the mattes are very nice. They're extremely powdery as well, so keep that in mind. If you're going in with your brush, you're going to get a lot of kick up. So tap gently is all you really need. Is this worth $49? Totally in my eyes. I love it. This is definitely a palette that is right up there with the Semi-Sweet. Semi-Sweet was my favorite one out of the whole chocolate bar collection, and this one honestly might be stealing its place just a little bit. I cannot get over how beautiful this is. I want to continue to create looks with it. I want to continue to use this palette. It is just so pretty. I really feel like Too Faced hit the nail on the head with this one. Packaging is gorgeous. The quality is gorgeous. It smells like chocolate, which is an added bonus, because who doesn't like to smell chocolate as they're getting ready in the morning? I love it. So yeah, I feel like that's really all I have to say about this palette. I really love it. I can totally see myself reaching for it a lot this coming year and recommending it a lot this coming year. I just think it's a really great addition. Really the only cons, as I said, is the mattes. The darker mattes are a little difficult to blend. It just takes a little bit more time to blend them out, and I do have to use a glitter glue to make sure I don't get any fallout on my face throughout the day. But honestly, that really is it. If any of this appeals to you, yeah, I say go for it and get it. The quality is definitely there, so if you've been eyeing it, I think it is well worth your $49, and it's a great investment, and you will be happy with the looks you create. I know I definitely am. If you are going to get it, or if you did get it, let me know down below. Let me know what you think about this palette if you did get it. So yeah, I think that about wraps this video up. Let me know if this review was helpful to you. Give me a thumbs up. That helps me out. And yeah, I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.